Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm going to post an update today on our investigation that we started yesterday with our Hangout, which unfortunately wasn't attended by too many of you, but I did record it. So we'll talk about that in just a moment, and I'll show you what is expected of you from the documents. But I know the big question on all of your minds is really related to the governor's order from yesterday. So I think the biggest thing for all of us is to just keep in mind that the school buildings are closed, but learning has to continue, and that's really directly from the governor. So that does not mean that your school year ends. I shared Dr. Maleko's letter with you last night, I believe, and I know he was going to share that publicly as well. But just a couple of takeaways. The biggest one for me is in his summary of the governor's points. It does talk about seniors being allowed to graduate. I'm going to quote directly from the letter. It says, students will move to the next grade assuming they are on track to graduate, have met standards, and or will show they have met standards over the next several weeks via online learning or other methods. So to me, that says that you really can't just stop. There are some of you out there that I'm sure are watching this video who have not logged into iLearn. You've not gone to IXL because for whatever reason, you're not reading the information coming from the superintendent or from the governor. But this, to me, makes it very, very clear that you do have to demonstrate learning and progress over the next several weeks. So as I've been doing all along, I will be keeping track of all of the assignments that have been provided for you. I will be leaving comments as to whether or not you've attempted them or not. So I've heard from nobody so far that flat out said they don't have technology, they don't have a computer, they can't do the work. I haven't heard anything from anybody. I will be sending out some postcards this week in the mail, this coming week, to try to touch base with some of those people that I haven't heard from in the last 3 weeks that haven't logged into iLearn at all. So I'll be doing that, but I hope you would read the letter, and I would hope you would take that seriously. The district is going to have to put together a learning plan, which Dearborn has really been way ahead of most of the rest of the state on this with our online learning capabilities. So for those of you that have been on the fence and have been sitting back and not doing any of the work, I would hope that this would kind of open your eyes that you really do have to do the work. You've got to find some way to make contact with your teachers. You've got to find some way to prove that you have met the standards, that you are working toward making progress. And really that goes for people whether you're passing or whether you're failing the class right now. I really think you need to make sure you're demonstrating progress. So again, we have to put grades in at the end of the year, and those things are going to determine where you stand. So read over that letter, make sure you take that seriously, and I really, really advise you strongly to continue to participate in the class, all of your classes for that matter, and just stay in touch. We're not trying to do this to lose all of you and just say, hey, enjoy high school, you're done. We really want to continue with your 8th grade year, and we really want to make it positive for you. So we're definitely not trying to make it more difficult, but need you to stay in touch. Okay. With that being said, I'm gonna switch over now and talk about this week's assignments, the week of May 30th, which is ending in a couple of days. But we're going to take a look at the investigation number 4 and the game I've asked you to play on iCivics. Okay, so we're going to switch over there. All right, guys, so here we are looking at iLearn the week of March 30th. You can see that just a couple things I've asked you to do is to take a look at iCivics and play the Branches of Power game. That's the one that you'll see right here. So this is the image that you're looking for. There are several games that I've actually assigned for you to work on. So if you can't get Branches of Power to load, there are 3 other ones, including the one that we did in class. If you don't remember your credentials, they are listed down here. So just open up the PDF. Depending on the hour that you're in, all of the passwords were reset to Hamilton. So you'll find your username and here's your password. That's the easiest way to get logged in. So find some time during the week to play this. Obviously, you want to score as high as you can. So you want to make sure you're reading and making good decisions along the way. At the bottom is the beginning of investigation 4. So right here is where you're going to download the investigation documents. Make sure you read the directions. You're going to click on the link and then that's going to open up a Google Doc that's in read only, so you can't make any revisions. You can't type in it or anything. So you have to click on File and then Make a Copy. That's going to put the copy of that Google Doc, the student documents, in your drive, and that's what you should be working on throughout this investigation. I'm going to show you an example in just a moment of how you want to annotate your document. I have a student example that's been turned in already, so I'm going to show you what that looks like, how you underline and highlight and comment on the document itself. Yesterday, during our Hangout, I went over part of this presentation, and we talked about the first two sources that we're going to use. You should have a link to that video in your drive, so make sure you go to your drive and look at the Shared With Me area. It was shared with everybody who was invited to the Hangout, which is all of you. So make sure that you're looking at that. This has all the presentation information that I would be giving to you in the classroom. The New York Times article that's linked in the presentation is also linked here directly. And down here, this form is where you're going to actually submit the shareable link to your annotated documents. So once you're done annotating the 5 documents that we have, which doesn't necessarily have to be Sunday, but when you're done annotating those, I'd like you to submit them there, and then I can take a look at them. Okay, so let's go take a look at let's go take a look at the student document right now. All right, so this is Reem's document that she submitted. I hope she doesn't mind, but I thought it was a pretty good example. So you can see that in Reem's document, she has, this is source number 1. I'm going to come back up to source number 4. I'm going to come back up to source number 1. You can see that she has, instead of circling, which we normally would have done on paper, she's used the highlight tool, which is right up here in your toolbar. The highlight tool to highlight the important information, like who wrote it, when was it written, and why was it written, and so forth. What kind of a source is it? So she's identified those things. Reem has also used the comment feature, which you can see these little comments off on the right hand side. That is accomplished by clicking on this little call out button with the plus sign in it. Put your cursor wherever you want it to go, and you can see in this case Reem put it right here next to the word reliable, and then her comment is off to the side talking about why a historian would believe that David Walker's speech would be reliable. She's done the same thing down here when asked to box the part of the source that helps you think about the central question. Reem indicates down here that she would box all of paragraph 2, which is right here. So that's what she was thinking about when it came to the central question. So that's how you'd use the tools. One comment I did leave for Reem, and really it is for all of you, don't forget the actual source. You should be annotating the source using the underline tool. And remember, we want to be thinking about this question in the upper right hand corner where the tag is at. What does the author want us think, want, or experience? So make sure that you're underlining things in the actual source, not the headnote and attribution, but underline things in the source that help you answer this question in the upper right hand corner. And every source has its own. Okay? All right, guys, I hope taking a look at the documents on iLearn and Reem's example have made that a little bit more clear to you. We're going to try to just do the investigation like we normally would in class as much as possible. Obviously, trying to do it electronically to save resources. We don't have to print anything. If you do have any other questions, please make sure you go back into your Google Drive and you watch the video from yesterday. I read the first 2 documents out loud. Tried to take questions. Again, there weren't many people participating, but please watch the video from yesterday before you send me an email with a question that was possibly already answered yesterday. So take a look at that, review the documents, read them carefully, and then of course if you have any questions after viewing that video, feel free to ask. That's what I'm here for. Okay. I will probably continue our our Hangouts today, Friday. We'll do one this afternoon, and at that point I'll determine whether or not I'm going to continue doing the live Hangouts on Monday and Friday like we have been, or if I'm going to just post YouTube videos, because it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to invite 135 people to a meeting to have 9 people show up. I end up spending most of the day replying to emails from people that didn't participate. So I'm just gonna decide after this afternoon, after our 4 o'clock meeting whether or not we're going to go forward with that. So, all right. Hope everybody's well. If you need anything that I can help you with, send you through the mail. Let me know. I hope everybody's doing well and your family's doing well. I know this is not easy for any of us to deal with, but I know we're all pretty strong and we can handle it. So, again, have a good Friday. Have a great weekend. And I know next week is spring break. And follow the schedule that I've given you. You don't have any new assignments, but certainly if you've got the time, which we all have the time, we're all stuck at home, it wouldn't hurt you to continue making up any old work or continuing with the investigation. Okay? All right, have a good weekend.